My world collapsed 6 months ago. 19 years together, 16 of them married, one beautiful 14-year-old daughter, of it shattered. When I discovered those texts on Kathy's phone, we were high school sweethearts. We met when we were both 19, young and full of dreams. Kathy got pregnant early in our relationship, and we decided to build a life together. I never once questioned whether she truly loved me. Why would I? We had our challenges, sure, but I thought we were solid. That night, I remember picking up her phone to check the time while she was in the shower. A notification popped up a message from Leon, my business partner. Asterisk, I can't wait to see you tomorrow. These secret meetings are killing me. Asterisk, my fingers trembled as I scrolled through their conversation history. The evidence was undeniable: explicit messages, plans for meetups, discussions about their future together. 3 years, they'd been carrying on this affair for 3 years, while I remained oblivious, trusting both my wife and my friend implicitly. When I confronted Kathy, she didn't even try to deny it. She just stood there in our bedroom, the room we'd shared for 16 years, and shrugged. I'm glad you found out, she said, her voice eerily calm. I'm sick of hiding it. We can fix this, I pleaded, my mind refusing to process what was happening. We can go to counseling. We can— No, Mark, she cut me off. The only reason I married you was because I got pregnant. I tried to love you for 16 years, but it never worked. Now I've found someone I actually love, and I'm not letting you hold me back. Those words cut deeper than any knife. 16 years of memories flashed before me: our wedding day, the birth of our daughter Emma, family vacations, quiet Sunday mornings, making pancakes together, all of it suddenly reframed as a lie. What about Emma? I asked. Kathy's expression hardened. She'll understand eventually. The divorce proceedings moved quickly. Kathy didn't want anything, no alimony, no drawn-out battle over assets. She just wanted out, and fast. I was still in shock, moving through the motions like a zombie, while trying to keep it together for Emma's sake. Leon sold his shares in our business and resigned within weeks. We had built that company from nothing over 5 years, and he walked away from it without a second thought. He sent me an email explaining that he and Kathy were moving to Boston, been offered a great job, and he had a cousin there he could work with. They wanted a fresh start, away from the trouble they'd caused. I wasn't sure how to feel. Angry, devastated, relieved they were leaving. All I knew was that I had a business to run and a daughter who needed me more than ever. Emma took it hard. When Kathy first left, she was confused and hurt. Then her mother sent her an email explaining the affair, with no consideration for how a 14-year-old might process such information. Emma wanted to talk to her mom, to understand, but Kathy refused, claiming she was too busy with the divorce proceedings to discuss it. That was the final straw for Emma. Her mother had abandoned her, not just physically, but emotionally, refusing even to answer her questions. The mother-daughter relationship that had once been so close disintegrated completely. For 2 months, we heard nothing from either of them. Emma and I established a new routine, just the two of us. I threw myself into work during the day, then came home and tried to be both parents to my daughter. Weekends were for movies, hikes, or just sitting together reading in comfortable silence. We were healing, slowly but surely. Then, one night, around 11, someone started pounding on our door. Emma had already gone to bed, but the noise woke her up. We both rushed to the door and peered through the window. It was Kathy, looking disheveled and agitated. Don't open it, Emma whispered, grabbing my arm, but something in Kathy's desperate expression made me unlock the door anyway. Before I could even say hello, she exploded into accusations. I'm going to sue you, she shouted, not even stepping inside. I'll take you to court and get what I deserve. I can't believe you would punish me so cruelly. I was completely bewildered. What are you talking about? She pushed up her sleeve, revealing a bandaged arm. This is what I'm talking about. As she launched into her explanation, the story became clear. Things with Leon had gone south quickly after their move to Boston. He'd grown resentful, blaming Kathy for ruining his life and making him leave the business he'd helped build. Their fights had escalated from verbal abuse to physical violence. When he threw a vase at her the night before, she accused, pointing a finger at me. You knew what he was capable of, and you hid it from me because you wanted revenge. The accusation was so absurd, I almost laughed. I worked with Leon for years, but I never dated him. I had no idea he could be violent. Liar, she spat. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Well, I didn't fight for anything in the divorce, but now I'm going to take everything. Throughout this bizarre confrontation, I had nearly forgotten Emma was standing beside me until she stepped forward. Go away, my daughter said, her voice surprisingly steady. Kathy looked stunned for a moment, then recovered. Shut up and go to bed. This doesn't concern you. I felt Emma stiffen beside me, and then something remarkable happened. My 14-year-old daughter drew herself up to her full height and looked her mother straight in the eyes. You have no right to speak to Dad this way, she said. For months, he's been heartbroken because of what you did, and you just moved on with your life like we meant nothing. You haven't even called me once your own daughter. You failed as a wife. and you failed as a mother. Kathy stood frozen on our doorstep. You chose to leave us for him, Emma continued, her voice gaining strength. Now you're on your own. You dug your grave now, lie in it. With that, she slammed the door in her mother's face. I could hear Kathy crying outside, but I didn't move to comfort her. Emma had said everything that needed to be said. She went back to her room, and I returned to mine, both of us trying to process what had just happened. For the next few days, I focused on work and on Emma, proud of how she'd stood up for herself for both of us. But 3 days later, Kathy returned this time with a lawyer. I'm filing for full custody of Emma, she announced when I opened the door. Thankfully, Emma was out with friends. I was stunned after how disrespectfully she spoke to me. It's clear you've poisoned her against me, Kathy said coldly. I won't allow it anymore. She claimed the only reason she had fought for custody initially was to spare me further pain and not disrupt Emma's life. Now she was portraying herself as a selfless mother who de-sacrificed her relationship with her daughter for my benefit. We both know that's not true, I said, keeping my voice level. You left because you wanted a fresh start with Leon. This had nothing to do with me or Emma. I don't care what you think, she snapped. I'm taking this to court. I'm not letting you turn my daughter against me. Be my guest, I replied, shutting the door in her face. But, as the days passed, doubts crept in. Had I inadvertently encouraged Emma's anger toward her mother? Should I have insisted she show more respect? Was I using my daughter as a weapon in my own battle with Kathy? I decided to talk to Emma directly. She deserved to know what was happening and to have a say in her own future. Your mom is filing for full custody, I told her that evening. Emma's face paled. She can't do that. I won't go live with her. You're 14 now, I assured her. The court will take your wishes into account. But I need to know, do you really want to stay with me? Or are you just angry with your mom right now? Emma's eyes filled with tears. Dad, of course I want to stay with you. Mom abandoned us. She broke our family. And then she didn't even care enough to call me. Maybe someday I can forgive her. But right now, I can't even look at her. I nodded, relieved. I won't turn you against your mother, Emma. That's not right. But I won't force you to have a relationship with her either. This is your decision. Thanks, Dad, she whispered, hugging me tight. The next day, we received formal notice of Kathy's custody petition. My lawyer assured me we were in a strong position, especially with Emma's clear preference, but advised we go through mediation first. That evening, my phone rang with a number I hadn't seen in months. Leon? Mark, he said, sounding desperate. Where's Kathy? I've been trying to reach her for days. I hesitated. Something shifted in my Minda plan for me. If Leon could convince Kathy to go back to Boston, maybe she'd drop this custody nonsense. She's in town, I said carefully. She's filing for custody of Emma. He sounded genuinely shocked. She didn't tell you she was leaving. No, we had a fight, and she just disappeared. I've been going crazy looking for her. I filled him in on what had happened, emphasizing how upset Kathy had been that he hadn't contacted her. If you want her back, I suggested, you should make a move quickly. As I hung up, I felt a twinge of guilt for manipulating the situation. But then I remembered how they'd betrayed me, how they'd hurt Emma, and the guilt faded. Sometimes karma needs a little nudge. The mediation session was a disaster. Kathy refused to listen to reason and stormed out after 30 minutes. When Emma and I returned home afterward, Leon was waiting on our doorstep, looking like hell. Please, he begged. I need to find her. I sent Emma inside and confronted him. You and Kathy destroyed my family, and now you have the nerve to ask for my help. Get lost. He broke down crying right there on my porch. I'm sorry, he sobbed. I really am. I fell in love with her. I couldn't help it. I felt nothing for this man who had once been my friend. Here's her parents' contact information, I said, handing him a piece of paper. Now, leave us alone. As he walked away, something strange happened. I felt a flicker of sympathy for him. Not enough to forgive, but enough to recognize that Kathy had a pattern of using people and discarding them when they no longer served her purpose. And then, like a bolt of lightning, the realization hit me. There was something Kathy had said during her first visit that didn't add up. Something about Leon that contradicted everything I knew about him. A detail that, if true, would change everything. That night, I couldn't sleep. Kathy's words kept replaying in my mind. You knew what he was capable of and you hid it from me. In all the years I'd known Leon, I'd never seen him lose his temper, let alone become violent. He was always the calm one, the mediator when clients got difficult or when staff disagreements arose. Could he really have changed so dramatically in just a few months? Or was there something else going on? I pulled out my laptop and began searching through old emails and photos from company events. There had to be something I was missing. Around 3 a.m., I found ETI photo from our company Christmas party 2 years ago. In the background, barely noticeable, was Kathy talking to one of our investors. Her sleeve was pulled up, and there on her arm was a bruise similar to the one she'd shown me on our doorstep. That bruise couldn't have been from Leon. He and Kathy were keeping their affair secret back then. So where had it come from? I went through more photos, this time from my personal collection. Over the years, I'd noticed occasional bruises on Kathy, nothing, just the kind you might get from bumping into furniture. But looking at them now, with this new perspective, a pattern emerged. The next morning, I called Sarah, Kathy's closest friend before the affair. We hadn't spoken since the divorce. "Mark," she said, sounding surprised. "How are you holding up? I need to ask you something, Sarah. Did Kathy ever mention having problems with Leon? Arguments? Maybe? Violence?" There was a long pause. "Leon? Violent?" She laughed. "That's hard to imagine. He's so passive." "That's what I thought too. Honestly, Mark, I haven't spoken to Kathy in months. Not since she left you. I couldn't condone what she did." I hesitated, then asked, "Sarah, did you ever notice anything off about our relationship? About Kathy's behavior?" Another pause, longer this time. "Mark, I don't want to speak ill of her. Please, Sarah, this is important," she sighed. "Kathy always needed to be the victim, didn't she? Every story she told put her at the center of some injustice. When things were good between you two, she'd find ways to create drama with other people, her parents, her boss, her friends, me included. Eventually, this matched my own recollections, but I'd always chalked it up to Kathy being sensitive." "Thank you, Sarah," I said. "That helps more than you know." I hung up and stared at the wall, a new theory forming in my mind. What if Leon wasn't abusive at all? What if this was Kathy's way of justifying her return, of playing the victim once more? 2 days later, Kathy and Leon showed up at my front door. "Together, we need to talk," Kathy said. In private, I told them to meet me at a cafe nearby, arranged for my mother to watch Emma, and headed out. They were sitting in a corner booth when I arrived, looking uncomfortable. Leon couldn't meet my eyes. Kathy, on the other hand, seemed perfectly composed. "We want to apologize," she began, her voice smooth and practiced, "for everything we put you through." I sat down without removing my coat. "Get to the point. Why are you here?" They exchanged glances. Leon cleared his throat. "We've realized we made a mistake. Boston isn't working out." Kathy added, "I miss Emma terribly, and Leon misses the business." I waited, sensing there was more. "We were hoping," Kathy continued, "that you'd agree to let Emma visit me every weekend, or at least every other weekend." Leon jumped in, "And I was hoping I could come back as a partner in the business. Maybe start a Boston branch." I stared at them, incredulous. "You want me to make my daughter travel back and forth every weekend so you do when you have to deal with the consequences of your choices? And you want your job back after betraying me for 3 years?" "We need an answer quickly," Kathy pressed. "My employer says I need to return to Boston if I want to keep my job." I laughed. I couldn't help it. "Let me get this straight. You claim Leon is abusive, then show up with him asking for favors. Do you think I'm stupid?" "It was a misunderstanding," Kathy said quickly. "We've worked things out." "A misunderstanding?" I repeated. "You showed me a cut on your arm and accused me of hiding his true nature from you." Leon looked confused. "What cut? What are you talking about?" Kathy shot him a warning. "Look." But it was too late. The pieces fell into place. "There's no job in Boston, is there, Kathy?" I said slowly. "And Leon never threw a vase at you." Kathy's expression shifted, her eyes narrowing. "Of course he did. Tell him, Leon." Leon stared at her. "Kathy, I never laid a hand on you. We argued, yes, but I would never—" "Shut up," she hissed. I looked between them, seeing the truth clearly now. "You made it all up. The abuse, the cut, probably even the job. You needed a reason to come back because things weren't working out with Leon, but you couldn't admit you'd made a mistake." "That's ridiculous," Kathy sputtered, but her face had gone pale. I turned to Leon. "I'm guessing the reality is that you're broke. You sold your shares in our company, moved to a new city with no solid job prospects, and now the money's running out. And Kathy's realizing that life with you isn't the fantasy she imagined." Leon looked down at his hands. "I didn't know she was lying about the abuse," he said quietly. "She came back from visiting you with that cut on her arm, claiming you'd refused to help her. She did it to herself." I realized aloud, to manipulate both of us. Kathy stood up abruptly. "This is absurd. I'm not going to sit here and listen to these accusations." "Sit down," I said firmly. "We're not finished." To my surprise, she did. "Here's what's going to happen," I continued. "You're going to drop this custody petition immediately. You'll respect Emma's wishes. If she wants to see you, fine, but you won't force it. And you," I turned to Leon, "are never getting your job back." But Kathy began. "I have evidence. I lie. Photos of your previous injuries long before you ever got involved with Leo. And I've spoken to your friends who confirmed your pattern of creating drama and playing the victim. Do you really want all that coming out in court?" It was a gamble, but I knew Kathy well enough to know she wouldn't risk her carefully constructed image being shattered. She stared at me for a long moment, then nodded stiffly. "Fine. You win." "This isn't about winning," I said. "It's about protecting our daughter from your games." I stood up to leave, then paused. "One more thing, why now? Why come back after months of no contact?" Kathy and Leon exchanged glances again. "We're having a baby," Kathy said quietly. "I'm 3 months pregnant." The news hit me like a physical blow, not because I still had feelings for Kathy, but because I immediately understood her motivation. She didn't want Emma for Emma's sake. She wanted to present herself as the devoted mother to both her children, the perfect victim who had overcome adversity. "Congratulations," I said flatly. "All the more reason to focus on your new family and leave ours alone." I walked out of the cafe without looking back. 3 months have passed since that meeting. True to her word, Kathy dropped the custody petition. She and Leon did move back to our city, though they live across town. I've heard through mutual acquaintances that Leon found a job with a competitor, and they seem to be preparing for their new arrival. Emma decided she wasn't ready to see her mother yet. Maybe someday, she told me, but not now. I respect her decision and don't push either way. As for me, I've been focusing on healing both for myself and for Emma. I've started dating again, cautiously. There's a woman I met at a business conference who makes me laugh and challenges me intellectually. We're taking things slow, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about the future. The betrayal still hurts sometimes when I let myself think about it. 19 years is a long time to invest in someone who could discard you, but I'm learning that the best revenge really is living well. The other night, Emma and I were making dinner together, a new tradition we've started on Fridays. She was chopping vegetables when she suddenly looked up at me. "Dad," she said, "I'm proud of you." "For what, sweetie?" "For not becoming bitter, for still being kind, even after what Mom did." I set down my spoon and looked at my daughter, this remarkable person who had somehow grown so wise despite the chaos around her. "Being bitter would only hurt us," I told her, "and we've been hurt enough." She nodded and went back to chopping, but I saw a small smile on her face. Later that night, as I was passing by her room, I overheard her on the phone with a friend. "My dad's the strongest person I know," she was saying. "Not strong like in muscles, but strong where it counts." I moved away quietly, not wanting to eavesdrop further, but her words stayed with me. Maybe I hadn't failed as a father after all. Maybe, despite everything, I'd managed to show her what real strength looks like, not the absence of pain, but the courage to keep going despite it. The most unexpected twist in this whole ordeal was you and Kathy's betrayal, or her manipulation aids, was discovering my own resilience. And Emma's, the family we were left with may be smaller now, but in many ways, it's stronger than ever. As for Kathy and Leon, I wish them well with their new baby, though I keep my distance. Some bridges, once burned, should stay that way, but I've let go of my anger toward them, not for their sake, but for mine and Emma's. Life has a funny way of revealing people's true colors eventually. Kathy thought she was punishing me by leaving, but in reality, she set me free. Free to discover what real love should look like. Free to be a better father. Free to find happiness that doesn't depend on someone else's validation. And that's a plot twist I never saw coming.